Hi, everybody. This is Angelique Tsang from the Conscious World Club. And we have here as a guest tonight my dear friend, Betsabe. And,
Yay.
Betsabe and I were introduced to each other because of actually a beauty business that we're in. Betsabe is a very, very multi-talented person. She is, apart from being a cosmetic acupuncturist, which is why I contacted her, she's also a holistic healer, and she's trained in lifeline technique, in Psyche, which is also one thing I was very interested in, and I worked with her, and also recently Theta healing. And probably I missed a few, but definitely if you're in London, you're in luck, because you can actually, when lockdown is over, you can do amazing stuff with Betsabe on your face or on your well-being. And so Betsabe and I have a real passion, I would say, a real, what is it? A deep love affair with the spiritual. Yeah. And so this is how we, apart from working together on the beauty side, we started looking into, technology devices that would help you rewire your brain or help you hack consciousness. And I know that one day I was at Betsabe's home and I had to do this. I had to put my finger in a device, and my aura reading showed up. And that device was called the BioWell, right? And I know that she's been working with all these devices, but I know now that she and I introduced her to the Healy, which is this little device. It's very little, but 144,000 frequencies and more. And so I introduced Betsabe, and Betsabe was immediately interested. And both she and I have been working with the Healy for quite a while. And so maybe can you say a little bit about yourself, Betsabe? Have I missed something
I
when I
don't think
introduced you?
so.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was complete.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about, some of you might have worked with a Healy or another technology device to actually understand, your blockages or, your personality, etc. What have you what is the benefit of the Healy compared with some of the other devices that you invested in and that you've worked with? Because there are quite a few on the market, as I know from many
Yeah,
therapists.
yeah, they are. So the first thing that stood out for me with Healy, it's it's really tiny. So I don't need to carry a
Yeah.
luggage with me to clinic and
I can
to
clip it here.
perform that. Yeah, you can clip it and
Yeah, yeah, that's what
and
most people
actually,
do.
you can work with it remotely. So that really, really helped me, especially during the lockdown, because most of my clients, they were used to having the BioWell, like they put their fingers in and to find out, what are the imbalances in energy centers and chakras and also meridians.
Mm-hmm.
So during the lockdown, they were just like, oh my God, we don't have this opportunity now. And then when Healy came, I was like, wow, I can do this remotely now because it's kind of the same. So
Mm-hmm.
it gives the same result, really. But I have to say, at the beginning, I was a little bit skeptical about it. I was like, how can this be done, remotely without the person being here? But when I saw the results, I was like amazed by the results that we were getting.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you can have it, in your own home and then you can enjoy it the other side of the screen to have your reading, and then it's kind of like a shortcut to understand the imbalances and start the session to recondition the body and mind according to
Yeah,
those imbalances. So
yeah.
yeah, Healy for me is, it crosses all these. Yeah, it's
Crosses
really,
the.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't have to
because
sit next to a therapist, and especially with lockdown, because you were working in at least 3 centers in London, I know, but with
yes,
lockdown, it
yes,
was
from the
over.
lockdown, I know, and everything should have just been online. Um, well, it takes your limitation away as a practitioner, and also on a personal level, because you know, when you're a practitioner, you just do sessions with other people, you spend time, you know, not healing them, but helping them balance areas that are imbalanced and help them. But for yourself, you really don't find the time to sit down and work on yourself. But with Healy, it's just so quick. It's
Yeah.
like you just take a snapshot of your face, and then here we
Yes.
go. Within minutes, you see what's going on in your life. So it's quite
Yeah.
exciting.
So one of the reasons we are doing this specific chat is because I was doing this, what I call the relationship aura experiment.
Yeah.
And I will share my screen. And the relationship aura experiment started because when I had what I did I started doing readings. Yeah. So basically, I started doing readings because the Healy allows you to do readings on yourself, on a couple, on a group, or an organization, a business, a building, a pet. You know, anything has an auric field, and you can do aura reading on it. And when I approached Betsabe, I actually wanted to ask her whether she would be interested to participate in the aura relationship experiment with her clients, because, you know, literally what I thought about was actually, what if aura reading could indicate or predict the dynamics in a relationship? And it was very interesting because this is the aura reading of me and my partner, my current partner. And this is the reading. Wait a minute, there are people trying to get in. Aha, this is the whole thing with not having a password. Sorry. So this is the aura reading of my previous relationship, which was very loving. As you can see, you know, lots and lots of like the higher chakras, really high readings, lots of passion, as you can see here.
Mhm.
It was very successful. It was super, like, we didn't have problems around money or whatever, you know, abundance. But where did we have problems? You know, my previous partner and I, we basically had a lot of communication problems. Literally, when the relationship ended, I never heard from him again. I wrote him many letters. He never responded. So you can see that this is a very accurate aura reading. Our hearts were closed, like literally, there, for whatever reason, we had a dynamic where our hearts was closed. And this was not because of the lack of me working on myself, because I was working with Betsabe. I was training as a theta healer. I was working on fast EFT. So I did a lot of work on myself, and still we had this aura reading, and basically, you could also see our solar plexus, which is where our power center was. We were not enough power. We were blaming each other, and I was, even with all my knowledge, I was blaming him. I was a victim. And of course, I was working with Betsabe on really just working on myself, but she, with, asking permission to his higher self, we also tried to clear things. But this is the state of the relationship as it is still. And it doesn't matter whether we're a couple or not. This is really our aura reading, me and him. And this is the one of me and my current partner. And I started thinking, okay, so what if all these years, so I'm 50 now, imagine that I was younger and I had the Healy and I could predict the status of a relationship. If I had this reading, I would run away. Like after one date, I'm sorry, like literally even before I met a person, I would say, can you send me your date and your picture? And then I'll do an aura reading on us. And if it doesn't look good, then bye-bye. And literally I started thinking, how much pain could I have prevented? But of course I could not have prevented the pain. Literally, I don't think we're supposed to prevent the pain, right, Betsabe? Because I think everything has a perfect reason.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
also, and so what Betsabe and I wanted to do is actually talk about, how accurate is the Healy? Because that's one of the first things that Betsabe and I were interested in. Is the Healy accurate, right? Because of course, what is this technology about? You have this little thing here, and you put in a picture, you put in a date of birth and a place, and and basically it tells you the status of a relationship or a person's chakras. Like, how does it work? So we went a bit deeper. And so what I did was I sent in a lot of people that I know that have very happy relationships. I asked them, could you please, can I please make you participate in this experiment? Because I need at least, a good number of happy couples that I see as happy couples, because I need your aura reading. And then I went to people that were very conscious, super conscious, unhappy singles. And sometimes they were happy, but they, these conscious singles, these people that are always working on themselves, they're not unhappy, but they were single. And if we asked them the truth, they would say, I don't feel ready. Yeah. So we also did their aura readings, and we did the aura readings as well of unhappy couples. But to be honest, I don't know a lot of unhappy couples, so I actually need a few more. Because a lot of the people that I work with and that Betsabe and I work with, we're super conscious. The tribes that we are in are very, very conscious. So what Betsabe and I wanted to do is to actually talk about today about what is an aura reading, what can it do for you, and how does the reading show you where you have a block. And this can show up in a relationship reading, but it can also show up for yourself. So I want to go a little bit deeper. So for instance, if you, for instance, look at this one for you, right? Heart chakra. This is a reading of a random person. So this here says heart chakra, the person is ready and able to have relationship with other people. So yeah, that's very good. Yeah. So, but you, if you look at this one, it says the person feels controlled by mother or father in the solar plexus, power center. Well, you can imagine that somebody like this is not going to feel happy in a relationship. So another example, so this is definitely, this is the relationship reading from me and Thomas, and the throat chakra, which was really low in my former relationship, 64, which is really low. 64 is low. This is a bit higher. Thomas, his own chakra, throat chakra, is always between 97 and 100. And literally it says that because you can express yourself, you will really be able to create your life with the expression of your own truth. But it says your life shows a creative will with which you can create many things for yourself. If you concentrate on this and choose a goal for yourself, the best conditions are given for the accomplishment. You inspire others. Your well-nourished throat chakra promotes the manifestation of good relationships and marital happiness. And that is what's going on right now. And I can tell you, I'm not a very easy person to be with. I can be super, super bossy. And like this, like I can, especially like, every day when we go out, I still ask him, do you really want to wear this jacket? It's like, I can be like a horrible mother sometimes, and he has to stop me. But because of our higher throat chakra, or his higher throat chakra, he's always listening to my intention and not to my words, my bossy behavior. And so this is an amazing improvement from the former relationship. Another one, solar plexus chakra. We have a very high reading. And the heart chakra, very important. I had a very low heart chakra with my former partner. And, the thing is, I can tell you one thing. You can love somebody and have a low, high heart chakra. And the thing is, sometimes if we haven't healed, and maybe Betsabe can talk about that as well, if we haven't healed, our heart chakra has the heart wall first, yeah. But more importantly, the way that we recognize love is through attachment and through a lot of woundedness. And so there's a lot of feeling as well in the heart chakra. But because you have a low heart chakra, you are expressing the lower levels of consciousness in relationships. So that shows up. But, and I have to tell you, that was very traumatic when that relationship ended, because I was definitely sabotaging it. And I have a pattern of sabotaging relationships over and over and over again, despite all the work that I was doing. But when I decided after the breakup of that relationship last year, I thought, Angelique, you now have to get real with yourself. You're going to use all the tools you have, and there's no more excuses. So I did all the dirty work. Betsabe was one of the people that I worked with, and we dig into my subconscious mind, why I was protecting myself. And the result is now that I'm with somebody who, from the beginning, ever since the beginning we met, we had an amazing communication, very harmonious. And I could have never predicted that I could go from here to here. And I can tell you from all the couples that I have been receiving the aura readings from, who I see as harmonious, happy, thriving couples, they have these type of aura readings. So a lot of them are, almost every chakra is between 85 or above, and hardly any lower chakras, lowered readings. So this is where I want to invite Betsabe maybe to talk about, can you give a few examples of how you work with clients? And I'm going to stop sharing, but I think people have seen now what a reading can do and how accurate it can be.
Yeah, of course. Well, basically, when clients come to me, like they have, like yourself, that you were unhappy in your relationship and you wanted to change that, quality of relationship. So instead of going through the subconscious mind, asking lots of questions and, take like 1 hour to find out what the problem is, you can just run Healy very quickly and find out where are the imbalances and what shows up. 99% of people who have, problem manifesting the compatible, basically.
The compatible one. That's the one we want. The other ones I don't want. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. When you wish for a soulmate or a partner in life, it has to be compatible. So when they wish for that, 99%, maybe 99.9% are only seeing just one person that their like root chakra was more balanced than others. So all of them, without exception, they have their root chakra, the three first chakras, first, second, and third, imbalanced. So that's where the unhappy relationship or not being in a relationship and being unhappy, being single, takes you to survival. So you just want to survive that relationship or survive that experience. So you just come out of creation, obviously. So people who are Dr. Joe Dispenza's the student, they understand this, that when you are in survival, you can never create, you can't create anything, let alone a relationship.
You can only manifest what you want in a state of creation, never in a state of survival.
Exactly. Yeah. But because you are still a co-creator, so you can manifest what your state of mind and body is at that moment. So it's not going to be balanced, obviously. So when we find the imbalances, then depending on what we find, I use one of the techniques that I know. Obviously, I don't know all the techniques in the world, so the few that I know. So I use to recondition their subconscious mind, because when you are in survival, you are just running on survival in the subconscious mind. So everything is to do with the default program from the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So when we go through this and balance, and obviously the first thing that I do, that I release trapped emotions and I'll go for the heart wall, because the heart is always like the lower vibration, and you can see it in Healy perfectly. So and
without the heart and brain coherence, we don't manifest what we want anyways.
No,
because we're always manifesting. Let's be very clear. So
yes,
the person ghosting you is your manifestation. A person not being committed to you is your manifestation. My partner's never committing to me was my manifestation. And, so there's no victimhood here. And this is why I think, you sometimes probably have heard of people that are always dating unavailable men. And then after they left you, they immediately married the next person or something. And you think, what is going on with me? And then after 5 times dating the same person in different bodies, I think, wait a minute, maybe it's my pattern. And, and I'm old enough, I can tell you, to know that it was my pattern. So I never, ever blame anybody, but I was struggling like hell with all these trapped emotions. And I was actually telling Betsabe today that if you actually look at the aura readings of my parents, yeah, and sometimes my aura reading, my heart reading is on the same level of my parents, and it's not high.
Mhm.
And because there was a lot of trauma there, ancestral,
Yeah.
transgenerational, both of my parents were almost like, left, abandoned children in China, and the parents weren't available. And those things can really, really they go deep into your worthiness issues and your I'm unlovable, I'm going to be abandoned, I have to push you away before you push me away type of patterns. And it took me many years. So I think you have to have compassion with yourself as well. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can either train or you can work with amazing people. I was so lucky. I have a huge amount of amazing healers around me, but I really also wanted to understand Psyche. That's why I worked with Betsabe, and Betsabe also has group therapy, group healings, group clearings. So I also joined that. And so, but I worked in many, many modalities. But what I think is important is that we start to understand that if the heart has a wall, you are not going to manifest what you want. And so that is just one chakra of the many.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yes. So one of the basic things that we have to all be aware of is the coherence between the brain and the heart. So when we don't have that coherence, always the other energy centers or chakras, they are imbalanced. So
yeah.
when your heart chakra is showing like the lowest level, that means there is no coherence between the brain and the heart. So when you mention the heart wall, absolutely right, because all the trapped emotions, they create the wall around the heart, and they don't allow the energy of the heart to really flow in life. And that worthiness that we always talk about, that am I worthy of being married, am I worthy of having my soulmate, am I worthy of I don't know, having financial freedom, which is another manifestation in our lives.
Yeah.
So that worthiness, it should just flow naturally from the heart center. So there is no other way to access that worthiness. So imagine that
Self-love,
exactly.
self-valuation, high
Yeah.
self-esteem. Yeah.
So imagine that your heart center shows like, a lowest level of vibration. So how can you feel worthy? And how can you create the coherence there?
Absolutely. And what I can tell you from so what was very interesting is when I look at my own heart chakra, it is sometimes not very high, but of course, those of you who are Dr. Joe students, I am a part of a group that does a lot of coherence healings. And whenever we do a coherence healings, I always measure myself, and my heart chakra is super high after that. So there are things that you can do to keep your heart and brain coherence high so that you don't go back to the lowest denominator. But people like me and Betsabe, we're like passionate about this work. So we will, I'm also in a theta healing practice where we dig on the stuff that is not as optimal as could be. But what is so very interesting is that actually when I am in a relationship with my partner, our aura reading is higher. And my business partner Ellen, she also had the same with her reading. So her aura reading is lower than when she is with her partner. And I think that is what's beautiful. When you've done enough work on yourself, you actually will feel worthy, and then you attract a partner that when you're together, you come together, there's synergy. Just literally your aura reading will show higher readings than when you're by yourself. And this is amazing because I think, I was explaining to Thomas last night, I was like, you know what is so interesting, because I am a very powerful, strong, happy woman by myself. Before lockdown, you would see me every month or so. I was in a different city. I was jet setting, all my friends were like always calling me, can you come to me, come to me, I'm there. And I would just hop on a plane and leave. And actually, I wasn't missing being in a relationship, but literally now being in a harmonious relationship, I can really see that it actually really is an amazing, solid rapport. And Betsabe herself has been happily married for many, many years. And that to me was also very beautiful, to work with somebody who actually knows that solidity of being in a stable, long lasting, happy relationship. and not and hearing from her, how she's seeing, how she was seeing my struggle. And but literally, this is the first time in my life where I really feel, no, I am worthy, and this is going to last, because this is not easy to find. It isn't easy to find, and it's also not easy to create. And just a question, Betsabe, you and I, we both work with clients, and and what I found interesting is that a lot of people that are super conscious, they sort of it's almost like they avoid the dating.
Yeah.
And I was there myself. Why, actually? Why? I sort of feel so. So this is when I was like designing the new program that I'm going to launch. Yeah, I was thinking, actually, what were we doing? We were basically replacing the love with the divine. We were, and this is what Tony Robbins, I was trained by Tony Robbins. What Tony Robbins calls that is, you're going for safe love. You're going actually for connection with the divine, rather than the full-blown, passionate, polarized, polarity, masculine, feminine energy type of growth required type of love. Absolutely. And so I'm thinking maybe that's something you also see with some of the people. And then, of course, they come to you to work with you. So they want to grow. But what do you see?
Well, basically what I see, so people who come to us, me and you, as practitioner of like theta healing or psyche or any other modalities, they are already like conscious about their spirituality, and they are after being more spiritual. Okay, so that's, I think that's the confusion that you were talking about, like confusing the true love that they can have on earth and with the creator. Mm-hmm. So because it's easier when you are just thinking about being spiritual and being with the creator and doing all this spiritual thing, you just talk yourself out a little bit of being in a relationship.
The growth.
Yes, exactly.
The fearful stuff that we need to face when we actually go online dating, because then suddenly our little child, our little wounded child, or the part of us that doesn't trust relationship, doesn't trust men, doesn't trust ourselves, it shows up. And this is where people are stuck in their growth. And I had to face myself saying, Angelique, if you would have done your work before you met your previous partner, you would have still been together with him, because despite his behavior, you would have still seen through it. But I couldn't. Everything he did, I interpreted as he's abandoning me. Everything he did.
Yeah.
So
but that's a confusion between the spirituality and finding your true love really on earth, in a physical body. So one of the things that it really shows up in our sessions is that the program that is a religious program. Okay, so when we hear that in order to be spiritual, because we look at Buddha, we look at Jesus, they were all alone doing their spiritual thing. So we think that we have to be alone to do it. Okay, and it's on a subconscious level, so we are not aware of it. Okay, we just go on a path, blinded by the light of the creator. We just go ahead, and we just subconsciously rather to be alone than go through the challenges with other people. So when I ask, is this a religious belief, muscle testing is always strong.
Yeah.
And for me, for example, one of the beliefs that I had, it was a religious belief, because I used to be Buddhist for 13 years almost. So one of the things that in Buddhism I learned, which was, kind of like, I didn't look at it as a suffering or complicated thing in my life. It was kind of, to me, those years, it was fact of life, that I can only be happy if I suffer. Okay, because the symbol of Buddhism was the lotus, was the water lily, that it has to come, the seed is deep in the mud, which is dirty and this and that. It has to struggle to come out, and then when it comes to the water, then it blossoms, and then it has its full, natural beauty and fulfills its mission. So it never occurred to me that this is a wrong belief. You can blossom, you can manifest, you can create whatever you want in life without suffering. And when I checked about it, and my muscle was strong for I have to suffer in order to be happy. And I was like, I am a happy person. So why do I, have this belief in me?
The thing is, the
And then I
Healy, and
checked that
also,
that is a Buddhist belief, and it was
yeah,
strong. So it was a Buddhist belief. And the moment that I released it, my chakras were balanced. And I was amazed by it, because actually it was recently, like, a couple of months ago. So I did the Healy for my chakras. And then I found imbalances, and I just, me and you, we go about, asking what's going on, what's wrong. So I went through lots of belief system, and this one came up, and I was so surprised that I was still holding on to a Buddhist belief that I was practicing. So there are lots of elements involved when you have your, chakras, especially heart chakra,
yeah,
in a low vibration.
yeah,
One of them could be like, when you were a child, programs in your childhood. The other element could be when your mom was pregnant with you, what she was going through, feeling
yeah,
unworthy or whatever.
yeah,
It could
yeah.
be that. The other elements would be like, the ones that prevent us to manifest, and it really affects our heart desire. So it just closes off, is anger, resentment, and fear. So
Yeah.
any kind of anger, resentment, and fear can just, create the heart wall, because we have to survive through them.
And in Theta healing, we have to clear the regrets, the resentments,
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
regrets, resentments, and the things that we haven't forgiven or
It
something.
is fear, anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to release all of that. I mean, in any modality, I think it's one of the basics that we have to go through in order to open up the path to really become what we want to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we cannot,
Yeah.
holding on to any of them
The
is,
only thing is, I can tell you, it's so easy because, for instance, when you're in a loving community of spiritual people and you're nice, happy single or something, right?
yeah.
And then you basically suddenly think of, oh, what do I want to manifest? So easy to just step over this little hurdle where you'd rather not look at it, and then you basically just manifest the thing, the other things that you want. You focus on money, which is what I did for many years. You focus on career fulfillment, you focus on loving yourself, but you still have this little fear of this amazing relationship. And this is why I thought, what if the Healy could help us, really not just really have clarity around all the different blocks that we have for love, but also when we meet somebody, how we could actually prepare ourselves to assess the compatibility, yeah, apart from, for instance, doing astrology, which is what I also did with my partner, with all my partners. And literally the previous partner, which I had this low aura reading with, our astrology was so bad that I actually said, I don't want to meet you. And then I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this astrology reading. I haven't even met this person, and it was so bad. And he literally said, mm, give me the dates. And he looked at it, he said, Angelique, there are also some good things. But I said, oh my God, but have you read the bad stuff? It's so bad. And literally, no matter what we did, despite all the love we had, it came true, all the negative things into astrology. And even with an amazing astrologer guiding me, we couldn't really bypass all the different blocks that we had. So for me, the Healy is an amazing tool, and working with practitioners like us and other amazing practitioners who want to use this is really just an extra tool to also look at, why am I struggling with this person? Because for me, it's amazing to work on yourself. But let's say you do embark on this amazing goal to date somebody. I would say do your due diligence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if a person doesn't want to give you their details, then maybe they're really not open to self-inquiry, to be honest. And I think if they're really, really open, they would say, yeah, I want to know this. I want to know what my chakras are. I would love to know, maybe you could share some stories of maybe people that you've worked with, that how you cleared the chakras after you saw things, and maybe how they then started manifesting different things, and how long did it take? Because I know you have a lot of very loyal clients that stay with you because of who you are and how psychic you are, etc.
Yeah, of course. So since we're talking about Healy, so I've got the Healy here as well. So I can't believe this little thing does many things, as you said, it has, around 44,000 frequencies.
144,000.
144, it's even better, frequencies. So what I do, if they are open to, because some people, they are not open to see their chakras, they just don't want to know, but many people, they like to know, they, especially if you have analytical mind, you want to see,
Yeah, measurements.
Exactly. So what I do is I use Healy to measure their aura, and we find all the imbalances in the chakras, and depending on which one is the lowest, so we go about finding the belief systems that not working there, and create a belief system that works for them, with their consent and what they choose they want. Okay. So the process, it takes about like 45 minutes to 1 hour to do the reconditioning and that. So I'll take another snapshot of their face after the session, and then I'll run Healy again, because the picture you take at the beginning of the session is different to the one that you take after the session. So then Healy shows all the balanced chakras, and that's when they can see with their own eyes that this really works, right? And some people, they just want to do Healy, and at the beginning I was like, so you just want to have the reading of Healy? And then they were like, yeah, I want to have the Healy reading, and then I like to meditate and call you back and do another reading. And I was open to that. I was like, okay, no problem. So then we would take another picture and then run the Healy, and chakras were, more balanced than before. And then as I was doing more and more, I came to this, conclusion that this really works. So I know, with my skeptical mind at the beginning, but now I know that this truly works. And the amazing thing about it is, if you can own one of these, so if you don't have any access to practitioners to work with you, you can run Healy frequencies on yourself and balance those chakras, even, on temporary basis.
So I have my own testimony for Healy, and I have several. But so last year when I sabotaged a relationship with a person, that same person I spoke about, my friend introduced me to the Healy, and I was like, okay, I will let you know when I feel really in a bad place, because I want to test whether running the frequencies on me, just using this device, will actually work. So when she visited me, I was on a real high, and my chakras had a really high reading. She said, I have never seen such a high reading. And I was like, whoa, that is amazing. And then I waited like a few weeks, and then suddenly one day I felt like really bad. Like I felt almost suicidal or something, like really, like my heart was aching. And sometimes when you go through these like real healing processes, you can feel a lot of the childhood pain come up, and it has nothing to do with this relationship. It's just like ancestral pain or whatever was coming up. And I said to her, you know what, I think it would be good for you if you would do a reading for me right now. And then she did a reading for me, and she sent me the reading, and it literally had minus numbers. It had the minus numbers, and they were black chakras. And I was like, black chakras.
Wow.
So that came up. But then literally she said, okay, she decided, and I didn't know this, she decided that she was going to run the Healy on me for 4 hours. She started at 11 and she ended at 3, but she didn't tell me. But what happened was, I was so exhausted from the pain, emotional pain, that I thought, okay, I'm just going to sleep. But what happened, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was feeling completely fine. And the next
Wow.
day I was like,
Mm.
I don't know what you did, but I feel really good. What did you do? She said, oh, I ran the Healy on you for 4 hours because my intuition, she's also a theta healer.
Yeah.
My intuition was that you were in a super program and you really had to go, you had to cross over that line. And so right now, I've been running Heelys on some of my friends, and there's a friend of mine who's in a very difficult position, and literally the Healy says the mental balance and emotional pain is coming up. So apart from the aura reading applications, the Healy has a lot of other applications that are about your mental well-being and about really whether you're in pain, and it differentiates between emotional pain, physical pain, jaw pain, back pain, and but the Healy is like, it's difficult to explain what the Healy does. But if you ever want to invest in a Healy, it literally looks at all the different imbalances in your body. And what I know from my partner as well is when I met him, he started having a specific allergy outbreak on his skin. And I said, and I didn't have the Healy then, and I was like, wouldn't this be an amazing case study to find out how accurate the Healy was? And I literally messaged my business partner who introduced me, and I said, hey, can you run the Healy on my partner? And she didn't know anything about him, and literally the Healy came up with skin and eyes, and he had an eye infection and he had skin. And so he was really flabbergasted. He was like, what, she is in Groningen or something, and I'm here in Maastricht, and she was still like, I don't know how many hours drive, and the Healy still picked up this thing. And I was like, yeah, this thing is really weird. It's I can't explain how this technology works. I've literally watched several webinars. I paid for several webinars as well to study it, but it's like my brain is like, what? It's like there's a database there. They created a database with all the different frequencies and applications to measure your mental health and emotional well-being, and also physical well-being, working with lots and lots of other scientists. And that is why this technology is so groundbreaking. But it's very, very interesting, I think, because I believe it's really a game changer, even if you're healthy, because apart from the physical health, we still have a lot, we would love to manifest everything we want. And if we have these little blockages, it's not going to happen, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's all about frequency. We are walking frequencies, right? We run on frequencies, and everything in the world is frequency. So is the Healy. Healy is frequency. So it works even you are miles away from the Healy. If someone can run the Healy for you, it's the connection.
Yeah.
Everything is connected to everything in the universe.
Yeah.
So I totally believe that you can run Healy for someone like in Brazil right now, and they can take the frequency in and change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that with other countries that I've got clients from all over the world, and when I do the Healy for them, as one of them was saying that I just sense this sensation in my body as you're doing this, and I was like, wow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in London, you are in France, and you're like, oh my God, you feel
People that are,
sensation in your body. She must be sensitive to frequencies to pick up on that, right?
I think when I did it for you, you also sensed it. I think you definitely sensed it as well.
I felt cold and then warm suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I don't know whether the audience here has questions. I mean, but let it be clear for me, my intention for doing this aura experiment was to actually really find out whether I was crazy thinking that, if you're a happy couple, then your aura readings are high. Maybe that was just like a fluke, but literally I'm now finding out that people who are happy couples, they have higher aura readings, like literally 85, 90 and above, and all chakras. And so for me, it then means that we can actually, as long as you, even if you're single, if your auras go higher and higher, you work on your blockages, you become a higher vibrational match to the relationship that you want, right? So it's not like it's not like mysterious anymore. Why am I single? Well, it's because you still have a few issues there, and they might not even be yours, because the Healy actually also tells you whether it's from your ancestors, whether it's from your soul, whether it's from your childhood. So it's a bit like theta healing.
Yes,
But
it is.
it's, yeah, so but it's just what I also found, that maybe you can verify this as well, is like I work sometimes with people over and over again. And sometimes, let's say, the third chakra shows up if they're not satisfied with their career or with their life purpose or something. And then very often the third chakra will say, you're not feeling powerful to manifest, your life purpose. And then literally we have to then dig for the beliefs around it, right? And then sometimes we see that the chakras can shift in a few sessions, but sometimes it takes many sessions, because we don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, literally.
Yes, absolutely. So with solar plexus, what I find is normally when solar plexus is imbalanced, your expression channel is imbalanced too. The way you express yourself is not there. So your throat chakra would be on lower vibration as well, because they kind of like work together. That's what I found out using Healy. So it was kind of like seeing the result. So when the solar plexus, your power center is imbalanced, you are not expressing yourself as who you are. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you work on that, and then solar plexus, your chakra shows like, from 37%, for example, goes to 99% when you start expressing yourself. I have this experience with one of my clients that we saw at 37. So the solar plexus was really, really low. And he was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be successful in my business. Everything is messed up. I'm in such a mess and all that. So he was expressing himself in a resentful, angry way, that is all my fault. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. So we changed his expression. So we changed it into that, I am a co-creator. I can create exactly the way I am. So he was always after having approval from people to manifest what he wants.
Yeah.
Okay. And because it was unconsciously, he wasn't aware of what he was doing. But the only thing that he knew was he cannot manifest and his life is in a mess. Okay. So of course it took few sessions to create that expression for him so he can express himself as himself, not as someone else, or having approval from his parents saying that, well done, you are doing okay, or no, you are doing everything wrong, you can't do anything right. Okay. So after a few sessions, this solar plexus, it was like at 98%, 99%. And each time we do the Healy since, it runs on 98, 99. And it's so exciting to see that.
Wow, amazing.
It is.
Yeah, I can definitely say that, my chakras, my aura readings have changed a lot as well, because of the commitment that I made to actually knowing that I can be, do, and have everything I want. And of course, I'm in the Dr. Joe community where we see almost so-called miracles happen all the time in terms of healing, but also recently in people manifesting things just by thought alone and by meditations alone. And so for me, it's like, how am I keeping myself small if I wasn't working on myself? And so this is why I'm so passionate about this. And any device that can hack it for me, it's like, yeah, give it to me. I want to know everything. And not only that, because, with this aura relationship aura experiment, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this, as soon as I find a couple that seems like very happy together, I'll say, can I please do an aura reading for you? And so maybe at one point I'll be launching something like, dating matching service based on aura readings or something. And actually my partner is very interested in that. And so at one point, I really think that with all the technology we have right now, we really don't have to make personal growth a really long process, of years and years and years of struggling, trial and error, 3 divorces, I don't know how many children from how many dads and moms. No, we can actually really, I think once we really know that we can create anything, we can do our due diligence and say, you know what, I don't know what it is, but I've worked on myself. And when we match the aura reading together, it seems to be not so good. I think maybe we should be dating other people. We can have this amazing, yeah, let's say grace, right? And not think like I used to think, please don't leave me, I want you to be here, even
Yeah.
if it's such a horrible relationship, anything better than you, because I don't believe that anybody else wants me or is better than you. And there's so much struggle in a relationship. And
Yeah,
that, of course, is all to do with the parental, ancestral stuff that we've seen,
absolutely. Yeah.
where you should be happy if you're with a man that doesn't abuse you.
Yeah.
Those type of beliefs, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Being in the place of insecurity, you keep the same horrible relationship in your life because you feel insecure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts, Betsabe? Because I definitely, I have seen, I always manifested somehow, because I was super spiritual. I always manifested men that were very disapproving of my spirituality. And I think it was because I am maybe a bit fundamentalist in the terms of the way that I see spirituality or that I experience it. And so my question is, I would really feel that, and that would show up in the type of arguments and conflicts I would have about values, about belief systems and perceptions, about who are we, why are we here on earth, how should we heal ourselves, should we take lots of medicine, or is it all about blessing the energy centers and whatnot. And so what have you seen about couples if very often one person comes, the other person doesn't even show up? Like, can they improve their relationship if only one person works on it? If one person improves their chakra, does the relationship then alter? I don't know whether you have any experiences.
Well, the experience I have is 50-50. So 50% of couples that I had relationship balance with, they, well, at the beginning, yes. Always, the female is really interested to do it. And the male has this, big male energy that, no, I don't want to do it. I don't need anything, you go and do it and everything will be sorted. So, but then they would come for a session because they would see the shift in their partner, and they would come for a session and they were interested to work with me to have a better relationship together. But another 50%, unfortunately, the one that had the session and work on themselves, and they came out of this insecurity and they stepped into the new version of themselves, which was, a powerful, compassionate, and loving woman. So they would just, either divorce each other in a very friendly way, okay, not with grudge or anger or anything like that, or they just, separated, and they were not together because the other one didn't want to work on himself. So it does happen a lot that, a relationship that doesn't work. So one person wants to, create a massive shift in it on her own or on his own. But it's the synergy of it. They say it takes two to tango all the
Yeah.
time. So it's just like, this cooperation between, partners that creates that beautiful relationship if they want to really grow together. But sometimes one doesn't want to grow. So you can't force them.
And the only thing that I can say, is like sometimes when you see struggles in relationships, and of course it's always ancestral. It's always like they feel at home in such a let's say dysfunctional relationship. or they feel, oh yeah, you know what, is it really real, this amazing, beautiful relationship, you know? And I can tell you now, like, I never thought it was possible. And when Ellen and I were doing all these relationship experiments in terms of manifesting our compatible soulmates, we didn't even know it was possible. Both of us didn't expect it. We both just thought, well, you know, we know all the teachings, we read all the books, we followed all the teachers, we paid all the money for all the therapy and the clearings. Now we're just going to do what we said we were going to do, which is live in the future present now and become that vibrational match. And both she and I manifested our compatible soulmates within 2 weeks of each other. Yeah. And we were just playing all these what we call time bending and vibrational alignment games with each other. And so she and I set up Conscious World Club, and a lot of the work that we do is play consciousness games, which is playing around with the universal laws, you know, not take it too seriously. But at the other hand, we also very serious about, you do need to clear the blocks. If you don't clear the blocks, you can be playful all you want. You're going to manifest, but you're going to manifest at a level where your chakras are misaligned. Because I can tell you many, many stories of me manifesting the man on my vision board, or the house on the vision board that belongs to a man that I fell in love with. But the problems that would come in, they were still showing all this dysfunction in the different chakras, whether it was not feeling worthy enough to be chosen by him, or, you know, manifesting the things that I didn't want, like a man that was completely incompatible with me, and but, you know, lots of love, but completely incompatible. I mean, you know, you can go on and on and on. It's actually not easy to have a harmonious relationship. I don't know what your thoughts are, because, you know, you've had you were divorced, and then
Yeah.
you met somebody very, very, you know,
Yeah.
you're still very much in love with each other, very
Yeah.
harmonious, you have a beautiful son. How did you see the singles world, or the people struggling? You know, how is it to see
That
that?
okay, that many years ago, like back in the day, I wasn't a practitioner. I didn't know even about imagination, the power of imagination, or what harmonious relationship means. How does it feel like? Because as soon as I opened my eyes, like, you know, to the world after being a teenager, I was just in a relationship with a horrible man that, you know, I forgave him, don't worry. I don't have any resentment towards him now. And he passed away. So rest in peace. Yeah. So I was with him for about 12 years, and all was there was suffering. All of it was
And you
suffering.
stayed for 12 years. Wow.
Yeah, I had to. Not, it wasn't my choice. I mean, it was my choice. I didn't know I have a choice back in the day. Okay. So it's really important that we understand we have a choice, you know. So I didn't know I have a choice. I thought, you know, this is my fate and I have to just deal with it. No, honestly, imagine that you are 17 years old and you are married to a horrible man, and you give birth to your first child that is born with cerebral palsy. How, you know, how can you survive that? You have to just stay in the survival mode, right?
Mhm.
Just survive, survive, survive. But I think the quality I had and I still have was my imagination. I didn't know the power of imagination then, but I always imagined, okay, that I am in a relationship with a lovely man and I do everything, you know, I go a holiday with this man, I do, you know, I cook with this man and everything. So I was stuck with this idea of, you know, this ideal man, you know, just daydreaming for myself, you know.
Oh my gosh, so
That was my
interesting.
survival, right? I would survive
Wow.
in this way.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had a very loving, like, you know, dad and parents. So my dad would like cover that part of love that I was missing in my marriage, basically. So he was trying his best to give me everything that my ex-husband couldn't. So that power of imagination actually, it got really, really strong. So it was so strong that I decided to get the divorce. I was like, this is not the man that I'm imagining. He is nowhere near, a man that I want to live my life the way I want to live my life.
But I want to clarify as well, in your cultural background,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
quite a bit of
It was. That's
it
why.
was a courageous thing to do from your
Yeah.
cultural background.
That's why I couldn't see any way out. Like, you are there, you are there. Okay. So but that power of imagination, it really got into me, like, it was boiling up all the time, the way that I just couldn't bear it anymore. And I became like a rebel, like, I was like, you can't come near me, I don't go anywhere with you, this is done. I just don't want you in my life. And as soon as I said that, my dad had a heart attack and passed away. So it just threw me back again to maybe I'm a bad person. Why did I say that I don't want this man, and da 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 da. So cut the long story short, I was in real like panic and anger towards myself, that I shouldn't have said that. I should have stayed in that marriage and not thinking about getting out of it. But I got out of it, and then I came to London to see my uncle and my friends, and then I met my current husband. And as soon as I met him, it was like I've known him for years, and he felt the same, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And then we were like going out for, I think, 2 months, something like that. And then my visa, I remember it was 6 months visa. So it was ending after, like, we were dating and going out. And then one of the I think it was after the 3 months that he said, so do you want to move in with me for another 3 months that you have here? I was like, okay. So I moved in with him because I was free, right? I didn't have any obligation to anything. So I moved in with him, and after a few weeks he proposed. He said, why don't you marry me? I was like, really? He said, yeah, why don't you marry me so you can stay here and we can be married and that. And I said, okay. So I didn't even say yes. I said, okay, let's do it. So we set the date. Actually, our anniversary was 16th of March, just 2 weeks ago, 22 years of
Wow.
marriage. Yeah. And then we got married the next month. So we're still married. And he is exactly what I imagined I want to have in my life. But I didn't know, whatever I know right now, I didn't know that I was doing it back then, like out of, being in survival, or just, making myself busy with daydreaming, about someone who is super nice. And as you said, he copes with me a lot. I get angry, he's calm. And I'm like, how can you be calm when I get angry? you know or I can be bossy as well sometimes. It's our nature to be bossy, as women.
I
Especially
don't
when
know.
you are powerful, you can be bossy. So I can be bossy sometimes, but he really gently, direct me towards, this part that it's okay not to control, just be relaxed. I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. Nothing is happening, right?
This is
So
so funny.
yeah,
It just, I think you would get on with my partner very well because,
yeah,
yeah, it's just like,
absolutely. He gets
and
on
I,
with everybody. Sometimes I'm like, how can you get on with all these people around you? But he's just so, easygoing, and, he doesn't care who is who. He just gets on with people. So that's really, I mean, I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza was talking about power of imagination, and I was like, okay, so if I can sit down and imagine that I have like 1 million pounds in my bank account, then it would appear, you know. And I did it for like 1 week, right, doing the energy center meditation, And I was just sending all this pound sign and everything to all the energy centers. And I was really, really happy, but £1 million didn't come to my account. And then I was disappointed. I was like, okay, so it didn't come. And then immediately I remembered, I said, you didn't know the power of imagination when you created this beautiful family for yourself. Now, why are you complaining about £1 million? You're going to have it, you know? So yeah, I really feel blessed with that. Really feel blessed with that. Yeah.
But I think you at one point, you, when we met up in London, you said Abraham Hicks, the money book. You said there was this specific chapter that was very, very important, chapter 4 or something. I don't know. You told me, and that it completely changed your mind. And then you started doing a lot of walking meditations with abundance. And then you started, instead of taking the Uber, you took this more expensive version of the Uber.
That was one of the manifestations, because I was thinking about, like, you know, why can't I have a chauffeur to take me here and there? And then I was taking Uber everywhere. But Uber drivers, they wouldn't come out and, you know, open the door for you like a
Not wear a suit. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And one of my clients, she came once, and then she was ordering a car, and I said, are you ordering Uber? She said, no, Uber is bad. Now I'm using Wheelie. And I was like, what is Wheelie? She said, just try it. And I tried it, and I was like, yay, I've got my personal chauffeur now, you know. And then we went around in London with
Yeah,
Wheelie,
you and I on the Wheelie. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So that was just a little manifestation, you know, to have my personal chauffeur without paying monthly, you know, like £20,000 for a chauffeur. You know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It can be so much fun. Well, there was a recent Dr. Joe student testimonial of a guy that did manifest, I think twice, over 100,000 US dollars.
Yeah. I heard that.
Yeah, Thomas, and we interviewed him. And so definitely, you know, the power of imagination and the quantum field, we know that. And the Healy, I think, is just like one of the ways that you can actually check how aligned you are. And that's why, you know, but there's so much more that we can do with it. You don't need the Healy. You don't need any of that. You know, you can basically train yourself as a theta healer, or use Psyche, or do fast EFT, or whatever it is that you're aligned with. Emotion code, there's so many of them. But then definitely, I think this really just, you know, verifies whether or not, you know, especially in love, I would say, you know, in love, you know, every time I would be with a man that was completely different than me, didn't even like spirituality, I would talk myself into being compatible with them. Yeah. I really want to look at you girls and boys that are doing this. Don't talk yourself into being compatible with somebody, and do not overlook big red flags, because this is the thing: when you have low self-esteem and you really don't think you can have it all, you're going to make excuses for yourself. You're going to think, oh, I can't carry this. I can heal this relationship. I tried with so many relationships to heal the relationship. And Betsabe is one of the people that I worked with. You know, she's seen me doing all of this for the relationship. And she was always the person with the bad news, saying, maybe you can heal this relationship, maybe you can't. But whatever it is that you're doing, you will be preparing yourself for somebody who is a match for you, who is a better and higher match for you. But when you're trying to heal the current relationship, you don't want to hear that. Yeah. So this is the thing. This is the thing. When you're working on yourself, there has to be a level of detachment where you say, you know what? I love myself. I'm worthy of this dream relationship. And if this person, if I'm going to do all the work and he doesn't want to do it, and even if he wants to do it and we're going to grow apart, I will love myself so much and love him so much that I can bless him to be with a more compatible person than I can be for him. And this, you can only do this once you start witnessing compatible couples, because I was never in a compatible relationship. And once you're in it, there is no other, you cannot imagine how much compromise you have to make by being in a relationship where there is love, maybe there's friendship, maybe there's passion, maybe there's romance, but it's just not compatible. And what I mean with not compatible is you don't align, you always have conflicts with things. Whenever you want to express yourself, you feel stressed out, or you're afraid of what he will say or what will happen. I mean, that's stress. If you are in a relationship and you're in stress about the things of the person that you live with, I mean, why would we do that to ourselves, right?
Yes, but when you are, unconscious about it, you would do it over and over and over again. And
Absolutely.
blink of an eye, 10 years pass, 20 years pass, and you're still in that relationship.
Or with multiple people,
or with multiple people, or with the
that
same
have the same
person.
pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, or with the same person.
Yeah.
So the first thing I tell people when they come for relationship balance, I say, don't think that you can 100% heal this relationship. There's a possibility that, you grow apart, and they don't like it.
No,
First time they're like, oh no, I just want to heal this one. I want him to stay. I just want this
I
to
was like that. I
happen.
was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just not having, any other way. But then as they grow, the personal development, and then they become more conscious about who they are, they're like, maybe it's not a bad idea if, I get divorced, or I just leave this person and go and find another compatible person that I can live with and have a life with,
The other thing is also, for those of you who are listening to this, maybe you don't believe that compatibility exists. Maybe you believe that, it's just always going to be dramatic. I don't believe that. I really believe, I've been reading this amazing woman called Catherine Alice, and she literally, her books will say things, and it's like, when you read her book, she has like a wall of soulmate couples. Yeah. They're all like done her work, and they're all like, and I've done her work as well, but I was still sabotaging myself. So I can tell you that. But basically, I had to discover maybe theta healing or whatever, and all the different things that I did in the meantime. But Catherine Alice would always say, whatever you didn't like about yourself and whatever other people basically disapproved of in you, your compatible soulmate, the one that is meant for you, will love that about you. And I can tell you that, sometimes in the beginning, I was always asking my partner, I was asking, what is it why is this relationship so nice, or blah, blah, blah. And he would come up with a list of things that the other partners would disapprove of. Yeah. So it was my spirituality. It was my self-reflection that they didn't like. I was too deep. I was blah, 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 blah. And my current partner loves that about me. So I can say, and also, just what Betsabe was describing, sometimes I am just stressed out, and, lockdown has created a lot of stress in my life in many ways, because I don't like the news. I can't travel. My parent, there's something going on with my dad in the hospital. There was lots of stress. And, it's really about this compatible partner should be able to calm you down, not make stress more worse, if you know what I mean. And it's really amazing to have that type of partnership. And I think, and I really want to, the reason why I wanted to do this specific chat about relationship, because I was telling Betsabe, to be honest, a lot of the spiritual people are settling for the happy, loving relationship with the divine. But what if they could have it all?
Yes.
And we are the examples of that, because we have been in not so nice relationship, and you stumbled into your nice your beautiful marriage.
Yes.
And I had to do lots of work on it, and I have it now.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah.
Or some people, they just put it down on karma, like, it's my karma to be alone. And I'm like, nobody's karma to be alone. There is no such a thing, that you must be alone to do your journey alone. Obviously, there are some personal things that you must do alone, your partner should do alone. But why do you have to be alone in your life? Because you want to do the spiritual work. Or there is this, mindset about being spiritual to look like, to look dirty and have your hair not, you don't wash your hair.
Ascetic.
And yes, and you are like, then they think that they living in a free, life. which they are not. And when you look at their belief systems and chakras, they are all imbalanced in a very, very bad way,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
So we really have to be conscious of, that confusion. But the
Absolutely.
creator's love is one thing. Your earthly love, which helps you to get even closer to the creator's love, is another thing. So
Mhm.
it's the synergy of both of them. You have to have both of them in your life.
The earthly love can also be very spiritual,
That's what
because
I'm saying.
I
Yes,
literally know that I
yeah,
manifested Thomas,
yes, yes.
because, every time I was doing, the theta healing practice, they would say, okay, today you have to write down 200 things that you're going to manifest. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to manifest this relationship and make it completely over the top. And I didn't even believe it. I was like, I'm also okay if it doesn't happen. I was still like, I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'm going to withdraw a little bit. But then at one point, I literally, the thing is, I think we also have to listen to our intuition. Suddenly one day I really felt like this voice, and I always trust the voice on the left side of my body. It's like my angels talking to me. They said, you need to go online dating.
Yeah.
You need to go online dating. You need to go online dating. And I was like, okay, I've heard this voice before, and it always leads to miraculous manifestations. So I literally tried to log on onto a dating site. And what happens, this dating site did not send me a password. And I said, this must not be the right dating site. Maybe I need to go to another one. And when I went on to the next one, literally my partner the day before did a ritual where he listened to this book, Think and Grow Rich, for the second time. And he heard this chapter, and he was dating, trying to find dates, and it wasn't really working or something. And he basically literally then heard a chapter in that Think and Grow Rich book, and it said, surrender. If you can't make it, control it, surrender your love life, or surrender your life. And he said to God or the divine, he said, God, divine, if she's out there, please let me know,
Oh,
just
me.
I surrender, I surrender. And then I heard this voice, go online dating, go online dating. I was like, okay, I need to listen to this voice. And so when I did it, I was literally the next day I appeared in his inbox as a match. And the first thing I said to him was like, "Oh, I see that you like all these spiritual teachers. Which are the ones that really impacted you?" So we had a very, very robust discussion. And the beautiful synchronicity was that I tried to heal my relationship with my previous partner by bombarding him with books of John Gottman. John Gottman is a very famous relationship expert who did a lot of research on healthy communication and healthy dynamics between husband and wives. And they say there's a science behind happy relationships. It's not like woo-woo, there are things in the earthly life that you have to do and do not do to actually create this beautiful relationship. And so I always said to myself, I always tried to send the books to my ex-partner. We have to read this book together. Maybe we should do this together. And he was always resistant, or he didn't make time for it. So I was like, in my mind's eye, I was like, okay, my next partner, the serious one that I'm going to be fall in love with, he's going to like this, or he's going to be open to this. And literally without telling Thomas anything about what I wanted, he left a message, a voicemail for me. And he started talking about something. And suddenly he mentioned John Gottman. And it was like, what? He knows John Gottman? So for me, that was like, bam, this
Yeah.
guy is interesting. So, and then I will tell you, girls and boys, that I had a 6.5-hour Zoom with him, and it went so well, but I still had a little bit of hesitance, because I was like, my astrology with the previous partner was really shit. And I should have never met him, but then I would have never learned these lessons. I would have never dug up all this pain and all this ancestral trauma. So, okay, but I don't want to do this again. So I said to him, okay, could you please send me your dates? Because I want to look at our astrology, and I'll be really honest with you. If our astrology is very difficult, I don't want to meet you. And so it was very, very, there was a lot of tension around it. But I mean, now I have the Healy, I would have done that. Yeah. So, but I would say do the Healy, do the astrology, and do both, and have enough balls to meet this person. but definitely be aware if the Healy gives you a not so good reading, be aware. Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether you've been using the Healy to help your single clients.
Yes, I have
In
been. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
been. Yeah. I've been using it on a couple of them. And one of them actually met someone on a dating website. And they started with Zooming, like yourself. So they did Zooming and then they met in the park.
Mhm.
And they feel really connected. They feel really, really connected. So, but they are waiting for the restrictions to be lifted to meet up, properly and be together, indoors and see, how it goes under one roof, what
Mm,
happens. And
yeah.
another one, she thinks that she found her love. She thinks she feels that she found her soulmate,
Mhm.
but the results yet to come. So I'm not sure.
Well,
Yeah.
you can always do the couple reading, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. The only thing is you need a date of foundation of a group, and so you need to know when they met,
Yeah.
and the Healy will tell it. The Healy will say it, and of course you also
Yeah,
have.
absolutely. I mean, it just makes it so easy to use Healy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally
But
agree.
we're still doing this aura relationship experiment. So the only thing I can say is for now, the couples that I see that have gone through a lot and that are thriving together and they're really like examples, they're both living their purpose. Both of them, when you combine the auras, they're really high. And what struck me is that both partners in the couple are very, very conscious. So most of the people, yeah, that's people that I'm related to. Both of them are, they're not victims. They're not like blaming. They're not stuck. They do work on themselves. So I would say these are, the minimum things that you need to take into account when you're dating. And you would do the same. You would do the same with a business partner, right? You would do the same with
Absolutely.
applying for a job.
I wanted to mention business partners, your colleagues, to be how, you can work in harmony together.
Maybe even do it, maybe even see whether you could do it for new jobs that you're going to apply for. Maybe you could do the due diligence there. Yeah. How can people get hold of you? You have a website,
Lifeline Technique,
lifelinetechnique.co.uk.
yes,
Yes.
lifelinetechnique.co.uk, yes.
Yes. So, and yeah, book a session with Betsabe if you think you would benefit from it. She has multiple techniques that she can work with. Psyche is very powerful, the lifeline technique itself, but also recently she's done theta healing. And I know we both love theta healing, but I also love Psyche because they really, it's all about changing the beliefs. It's all about changing the information field around the person, and
Absolutely.
also seeing where we're stuck. Yeah, because it's where we're stuck that is creating the results that we don't like, and they're often areas of stuckness that we don't even know about. They're very hidden, out of sight. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know whether there's somebody that would like to ask a question. Please feel free to put that in the chat. And otherwise, we're going to call it a day. We're going to do some more random chats around this topic because we just love, there's so much to talk about, about our own experience, about how we love to work with the energy fields, the Healy, and all the other devices that we have. The only issue is with all the other devices, you have to be present, right? You have to
That's right.
be, yeah. And with the Healy, you don't have that. And those of you who want to invest in the Healy, there is an offer until the end of April where the Healy is almost 50% off. Yeah, so the Healy Resonance, which is what you will buy when you're a therapist, when you're a practitioner, so you're like me at Betsabe, or you're training to be a therapist or an expert, is around 2,500 euros. So imagine 50% of that is a huge amount. It's a huge amount, and you could make money with it. Yeah, so it's really, really good investment. But even if you're not a therapist, there are cheaper models that you could buy. starting from 500 euros. And then you can add the programs, I believe, or you can upgrade later. But yeah, I really, really think this is an amazing device. I've been using it a lot on myself. There's also a beauty program there. There's a hair program there for people who are losing hair, but I use it for my skin rejuvenation. But I also use it for mental balance. I use it to very often really look at what needs to be balanced in my physical system, because I live quite healthy, but sometimes I also I'm not very healthy sometimes. I saw, now that I have a partner who loves cooking with me, we are creating a lot of we both gained a lot of weight because we are like really good cooks together. So we now have to, we might need to try the weight loss program on here. But yeah, so I don't know whether you guys have any questions. This is your last chance.
Maybe we answered all their questions.
Yes, or it's so private that they don't want to, So feel free to reach out to Betsabe. I will post, I posted her website in the event. I will upload this on YouTube as well. So you can find her on YouTube and probably on Instagram. I'll also tag her in the post. So there's multiple ways you can find her. And you can also find the link to participate in the Relationship Aura experiment. My happiness, yeah. The thing is, I really have to say, it took me a very, very long time to really heal this part of my relationship. And I'm so grateful to many of the people I work with. Betsabe is one of them. But, I was in so much pain. I cannot tell you in how much pain I was. I was like working on myself day and night, because I think, and I didn't have the Healy then, but I would have really been interested to see what was going on with my aura field. And but literally I had black aura minus reading. So you could literally see that whatever my soul was trying to heal, it wasn't easy. So I really want to encourage people, that I can see so many people struggling in relationship and settling for being single. And even the most conscious people, I did a reading for somebody who is like one of the most, I would say he's one of the most eligible bachelors ever. And I did an aura reading for him. And one of the things that struck me, it said was like, you know how to feel joy. You are just a joyful person. But then in his love life, it said, you associate love with pain. And that was it. That was there already. Boom. The Healy picked it up. That was it. And I said, this is what your reading said. And I sent it to him. He said, yeah, that's true. I said, well, then of course you're not going to go into a relationship because you don't even need a relationship to be joyful. But what if you could have one? We're not here telling you should be in a relationship, but what we're telling you is that if you were like me for many years, avoiding the topic, going around in circles, doing all the spiritual work, thinking, oh, I'd rather be a multimillionaire. I don't have to be with a relationship. You can have it. Yeah. But you have to do the work and you have to do the imagination, just like Betsabe did. I have books written, like I've done a lot of imagination stuff in groups with my masterminds to really just clear my, what I would call Akashic records or whatever you want to call them. I filled in the grid with this current relationship and I got it. And not because I wanted it, but because once you align, I think the universe must give you what you wanted, right? And it's all about alignment. The Healy is just showing you whether you're aligned or not. But you don't need the Healy because when you're aligned, the things show up. You don't need the Healy. Many people are manifesting without the Healy. It's just if you need a little hack, you can use it. So thank you, everybody. So my partner is sharing. People don't know what is possible in terms of surveys or analysis. I'm deeply impressed by the astrology reading and the Healy and its accuracy. I love assessments and use it in my work as a coach. Thomas is a leadership coach. He works with a lot of the big teams in corporations, like measuring emotional intelligence and help people to improve it. Yeah, so Thomas is he has been bugging me for like, I don't know how many months to actually do the emotional intelligence analysis. And I am always too busy. And I promised him this weekend, I will do the emotional intelligence test, because that is based on the book of this amazing book called Emotional Intelligence, but that is mostly about work life. And he told me that when he did the training, he actually, and I will interview him one day about it, he said that when he trained for emotional intelligence, he had to learn how to increase his own self-esteem. And he did it, for so many years. And now he's like, it doesn't matter what other people do to me, I will still love myself. And I think, wow, that's an amazing, amazing, like quality, because what went wrong in my previous relationships was everything they did, I interpreted as they don't love me. But if you have very high self-esteem, and this emotional intelligence assessment can actually show you whether you have it or not. If you have very high self-esteem, it will literally, when people do things, you will not take it personally. And that is why Thomas can stay with me, because no matter what I do, he never ever takes it personally. He always says, what is her intention? And maybe she's a bit crappy in communication, or very, very ineffective at communication, but I know her intention is good. And this is what he's teaching me, to not so much look at the words that come out, or the frustration, or my bossiness, or my behavior, but to listen for the intention. And this is emotional intelligence, which is, I think, a complete different dimension that we could also look at. Maybe we'll send you a test as well, Betsabe. Will be fun.
That would be lovely.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Thomas, for your comments. And these tools are amazing. We live in truly amazing times. Your soulmate is waiting for you. I can tell you, when I was single, all the coaches that I worked with, a lot of people who are like my close friends, who I asked them to help me, they all believed in me, in a right man there for me. And I couldn't believe it. Every time they told me, I was like, really? I'm not sure. I'm okay if I die an old lady alone. And now I'm like, oh, why would I even think that? It's so easy. It's not even difficult. But yeah, but you do need to be aligned, because if you're not a vibrational match, you cannot believe it, you cannot accept it, and you cannot surrender to it, as Dr. Joe would say. So
Absolutely.
It was so much fun to have you as a guest, Betsabe.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so hopefully some people will get to know you, get to work with you. And next time we'll have another topic, might be about money.
Yes, that would be exciting.
Yeah, because the Healy has a lot of readings also about money issues. Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Okay. Lots of love, everybody. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.